Hey, how are you doing? I am Stacy Ann Louie, IBCLC, owner of 10th Birth and Breastfeeding, one fourth of Thrive Lactation Collective. Today we have with us Kia. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have this conversation. We're going to be talking about mental health and breastfeeding. This is one of my favorite topics to talk about. So we're going to try our best to wrap it up in a nice little bundle for you, but I know Kia by way of her breastfeeding journey. I've been so fortunate to be able to support her along in her journey and just learn some great things from her. The interesting thing about it is that people think that I'm the one that's always imparting stuff. I've learned so much by way of being in, a part of your journey. So let everybody know who you are, what you do, and your beautiful kids.
I am Kia. I am a stay-at-home mom. I have the privilege of being able to stay home and steward my children and my home. I have a 7 and 6-year-old boys. They're in school, and then I have a wonderful 18-month-old toddler at home who I stay home with every day. So it's a
Yeah.
joy and a struggle, but
Yeah.
done.
That's beautiful. That's so beautiful. So let's start some wordplay. I'm going to say something and you're going to end it. So motherhood is,
Rebirth.
ooh, oh, I like that. Um, breastfeeding is,
Beautiful.
oh, wow. Okay. You're like, how do I sum this up? How do I sum this up? So let me know or let us know how, like, what made you decide to even breastfeed your children or any of your children? What made you decide to do it?
So initially, before I knew about all like the health benefits and the antibodies and all of those things, I was in the grocery store and I was pricing milk, and I was like, I'm not paying for this milk. I was literally in Kroger, and I was like, let me get online and find out about this breastfeeding thing they're talking about, because I got to buy diapers, pay daycare, do all of these things, and I got to buy this expensive milk. No. So before I took a breastfeeding class, it was the prices. Okay. And then I
I
started doing
love it.
research, but that's why initially it was the cost for me. That was enough for me to try.
I love it. I love the honesty because as for me, cost is like the thing. Like when I look at a can of formula, how much it costs, when I look at the diapers, the this, all the cost, the daycare, and you're like, and before you have kids, you don't even know how you're gonna make it. So it's just exponentially blows out the water. So I get that. That's part of the reason why my husband supports me so well because I'm gonna eat anyways, right?
Right.
So that's the thing. But then again, let's talk a little bit. So mental health, when we talk about it, it's been something that we're more liberally talking about in our society now. With maternal mental health, that's still another topic it's even less talked about than anything else. And then when you talk about Black women and mental health, that's another topic that we don't really talk about because let's face it, we're strong, right? We're strong as ox and we're supposed to bear it all and all this stuff. But when you have your children, there's a certain shift in expectation that comes with it. Let us know and share with us how it is as transitioning from, or even you had your child during the pandemic. So talk about that before we even go there. Like, what is that like? Because we're kind of in it still.
So that was interesting. Ironically, I told my husband at the beginning of a pandemic, now would not be the time to have a baby. That was March. Okay. I was like, now would not be the time to have a baby. The end of May, I was pregnant. I was like, okay, here I am. So trying to figure out what everything was. We thought we were going to have like this big baby shower, all of these things. It's like, no. We went to the doctor. They're like, you may or may not be able to even have your husband in a room. And I'm like, like, what do you mean? So that sent us on a journey of like trying to find out whether we were going to have a home birth or what we were going to do. We ended up finding a birth center. So now I'm going from having to have a baby in the pandemic and trying to consider having a natural birth, more so because I don't want to be alone in a hospital room. Not that I enjoy pain and don't mind drugs, but I don't want to be alone in a hospital room. I'm a Black woman. I can't be alone in a hospital room with y'all by myself.
Yeah.
So I had to like navigate that, going to the doctor's appointment by yourself. It's just a different experience. It kind of feels a little lonely. Like I felt like
Yeah.
you want to protect your baby, so I'm not going anywhere. I got Lysol, I'm cleaning everything, sanitizing everybody. I'm like the germ police.
Yeah.
So it was definitely different than being pregnant prior to non-pandemic times. It's a
Yeah.
different pandemic moms. We almost got a badge like going through that. It's just different.
It's different, it is. And how would you say that played into, so you've had babies pre-pandemic, you've had kids, in different situations, but how is it adding a third into your family? Because you went from being a family you know, of four to a family of three. Um, how is that for you as a mama navigating your health, and how did this play into your health going through the pandemic with a baby? Because let's face it, motherhood itself can be isolated. So how did that affect you?
So I struggled. I
Hmm.
really did struggle. And it took me a while to like admit that I was struggling because I
Hmm.
felt like you've been here before. This is not your first rodeo. You should
Yeah,
know what to do. You've been here before. You know how to do this. Like get this thing crunked out. But I've
yeah.
never been a kindergarten teacher or teaching my son at school with a baby on my arm, trying to navigate math and social studies and Zoom classes and lunches and this and that. Like I've never done that before. So I
Yeah.
had to really figure out like how to navigate those things and learn how to like set boundaries for my older children. Mommy needs a,
Hmm.
please do not come in the bathroom while I'm in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Please, I'm going to give you a timer. In these 30 minutes, I need you not to bother me. Like I had to
Yeah.
set up those things because I felt like I was drowning. Like dealing with a baby by one baby is one thing, but when you got this and all of these things pulling in the balance, and then my children's education was basically in my hands. What they knew when they went back to school, they're gonna be like, "What your mama did? What did she do or not do? It's in my hands." And I'm like, shout out to the teachers because I'm not one. I can do a little
Yes.
bit here and there,
Yes.
but having to manage a full curriculum, a baby, pandemic, then you can't really take. I had to get babysitters to go to the doctor, or my husband had to take off because I couldn't take the other kids to the doctor. It was just like a whole new level of managing stress.
It is. It was definitely. I, I, I so understand, because as you're talking about it, I'm like, man, that was me. That was me too. Itself. So that within itself. So, um, then you talk about, I'm gonna breastfeed on top of that. So you're like, I'm gonna have a baby. I'm gonna breastfeed this baby. The pandemic was there. You're now a teacher, still a wife, still responsible for your household, still the steward of your household. Um, how do you navigate feeding, putting food on the table physically, and then feeding from your body at the same time?
It was a struggle, and I'm gonna just be real transparent. I
Yeah,
remember I had her at the birth center. I had an
yeah,
okay birth until the end, but it got kind of like difficult.
yeah.
I didn't have any drugs this time, which was
Mhm.
so much different because I felt like I could feel like the after contraction pain. So I had like a
Yeah,
lot of pain. So I
yeah.
get home, I'm trying to latch this baby. She's not latching properly. I'm like, I know what to do. You don't know what to do. Let's get this together.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it together. I had a cracked nipple. I got
Wow.
pain. Like it's like a postpartum nightmare. Okay, you got
Yeah.
diapers on. Uh, what you call it? Nursing tanks,
Jigs.
kids. I went to a lactation consultant, and I was just trying to see whoever I could see first, and it was somebody that I
Yeah.
can go to. I can remember me and my husband getting out of the car, and I had to hold onto the stroller to walk because I could not walk
Wow.
without the stroller. So I had to literally hold on to
Wow.
the stroller to get into the lactation place for them to help me. They gave me like this recipe to make this nipple cream to help with the crack nipples. I get home, I'm like trying to hold the baby, but like not on my stomach because it hurts, all of these things.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Like, my husband is very helpful, but I need somebody else that I can like say what I really want to say to without hurting their feelings. Like, I
Yeah.
need a minute because this is hard. Like,
Yeah.
and this strong black woman cape, I don't want to wear it. I give it up. You can have it
Yeah.
because I don't want to do this. And if I'm gonna make it, I want to feed this baby. I want it to be a beautiful journey. But right now it feels hard. It feels
Yeah.
like I don't know when I'm having to decide between feeding the baby and my mental health. Like,
Yeah.
in order for me to do both, I had to get a therapist, and it was the best decision I think I made for me to just take that time to be able to, in the beginning, just say what I want to say. Because
Good.
you can't
Yeah.
always get those. You need a safe space to say those things. So
You do.
therapy kind of helped me get through the beginning because it's hard. And you think you think every child is really different, and you hear them
Yeah.
say that, but until you experience that, you don't know. Because I'm like, I breastfed my child for almost 2 years. I know what I'm doing. So now that I'm struggling, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, you know
What's
what to
wrong?
do. You've been here before. What's the problem? So
Yeah. And
yeah,
that's the thing about it is that what you probably didn't see, I'm sure your therapist pointed it out to you, is that you carried your baby in so much stress. The pandemic itself was stress. You had to make so much decision on like a rush basis to have a birth in create a safe space for yourself. And then you're now home and you're still tense and all these things that are happening. So you're thinking it was, oh, it's going to be over once I have the baby, but no, I'm still in the midst of stress itself. And that's the thing about it is that from the minute that you get pregnant in an isolated place and you're carrying that as a place of isolation, your mental health is already at risk before you have your baby. And so I'm so happy though that you're able to recognize those things. Now, can I ask you a question?
sure.
Was for yourself, were you one that just said, hey, I recognize this within me and I need someone to help me? Or was there another person to say, hey, Kia, I kind of see some things, you know, would you like to speak to someone? Because everybody's journey is different. Were you able to just like that's me that did it? I just dialed and found somebody and spoke to them.
So I battled for a while. I
Yeah,
did end up reaching out myself, but I did
yeah,
have the black woman,
yeah,
you know what you're doing, pick up yourself, get in the shower, wash your face, keep
yeah,
going, you got this type of situation, I think for weeks. And I
yeah,
just kind of realized like I went to take Kinsley to the doctor and to go to the
yeah,
lactation specialist. But after that, I hadn't been outside in like 10 days, 12 days. I hadn't seen any sunlight. I hadn't opened the windows. I was
yeah,
like drowning and didn't because I was trying to do all these things, sleep a little bit when she sleeps, in between homeschool naps and all of these things. And I
yeah,
just felt like I don't feel good, like mentally,
mhm,
like I don't feel good. And I want to be able to be here for my children. And if I
mhm,
love them, to love myself. So let me find someone that can help me. But it did take me a while to like, in your head, you knew better, but it's your head and your heart that kind of have to like connect
fabulous.
that
Yeah,
battle. I'm like, I support therapy. I've been a therapist before. I know what to do, but for some reason, I feel like I'm stronger than this. I should
yeah,
be able to handle this. I'm a mom
yeah,
of three. I know what to do. I got this. So I
yeah.
did end up doing it on my own, but it did take me a while to like speak up.
That's the thing. So, what was it like for you the first time to be able, you said, to talk to somebody and be able to be honest and open and don't like hurt anybody's feelings? Like, you don't have to tell us a conversation, but what was it like?
I told my husband when I came back in the house, I felt like I could breathe. Like I felt like I
Wow.
had been suffocating. And
Yeah.
my therapist, I found her. She had openings on Saturday, which was great.
Hmm.
And I was getting ready to start my session, and she texted me like, "Hey, give me 10 minutes. I have to get my son together." And I was like, "Yes, she's a mom.
Yes.
She gets it. Late. She's late. Like we're gonna understand each other or whatever." And
Yeah.
I literally just like word vomited for like
Yeah.
20. And she was like, you feel lighter, don't you? Like, because children, I think we don't, as moms, don't always have that safe space to like say that we're struggling, because it's like, you should be appreciative and motherhood is so beautiful and some people struggle so much and all of this. And it's like, yes, I love my children, but this also feels very hard, or very, people don't, it's like, it's not a safe space to do both. It's like, we just have to love, 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 love. But also this is hard. And also I can't go to the bathroom alone. And this little girl is always crying and she's always eating. And now I'm eating on top of her head and putting crumbs on top of her head, or making dinner with homework with a baby attached to my boob. Like, I don't want to do all of these things. Like, so this
as
beautifully
mine is
hard.
about
I
to
like
come
that.
into this whole screen here as we're talking.
Hello.
Because I forgot to lock the door. It's because he finds it. So I'm gonna just put him out 2 seconds. Continue talking. You want to go down for 2 seconds for mommy? Okay. Yeah. Okay. So go down for 2 seconds for mommy. Okay. Okay. Okay.
But yes, we have to have a safe space to be able to talk about the hard parts of motherhood. I think it's a journey, and it's beautiful and equally as difficult. So I'm glad I was able to reach out to a therapist and get the help that I needed.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, having that safe space is pivotal for oneself. It's because we don't, number one, we don't have time for ourselves just to have it. And to have that conversation in the space where somebody understands you. Can I ask you another question? Was your therapist also another woman of color?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So you had that because I know a lot of women say it feels like, they understand you don't have to explain certain things. They just get it. They absolutely get the struggle that you're going through. So you're safe and cocooned where you are, type of stuff. So that is a thing. So having a therapist to help you or to navigate going through this period, how did it improve on your ability to mother in the way you want to mother, like to breastfeed as you taught the other kids, all of that stuff? How did it help you navigate?
He kind of reminded me and helped me walk through, like, I have this want to do all things complex.
Hmm.
Like, I want to do all the things. Okay. I want to have everything organized. I want to have clothes prep for the week. I want to have all these activities, tummy time on demand, all of these things. And she would ask me, what happens if you don't?
Hmm.
If you don't do those things today or tomorrow, what will happen? Will the entire world fall apart? Will your children love you any less if you don't do any of those things, except for take care of the basic needs, take a minute in the morning to take time for yourself, go
Yeah.
ride to Target, go get a coffee? What will happen if you don't do those things? And it felt like so freeing, because I
Mhm.
know some moms can relate. We feel like we got to do it. Even if we have a husband, even have a partner, it's like, no, but I got to do it. I got to do the bath time and I got to do it because he doesn't do it the way I do it. And he
Yes.
doesn't. And she was like, you need to ask for help, or you need to I have a good husband who wants to help, but I was always like, give me her. Why is she
Yeah.
crying? What are you doing? You're not doing it right. Let me do
Ex-
it. And I
exactly.
literally would have
I've
to be
been
like,
there.
she's in capable hands.
Hmm.
I need to, especially as a mom who stays home all the time, I
Yeah.
need to do things without her. I need to go to the store or read a book or for a walk. So she
Yeah.
just kind of kept me in check in navigating those like behaviors, and even mentally not realizing those things I carried on from my childhood and that I'll push
Hmm.
on to my daughter. Because I'll show my
Yeah.
daughter, my sons, that a woman is doing all the things, or that I'm neglecting myself, or that I'm helping with homework in the bathroom, or that I'm in a towel and I'm helping do something else. Like, I had to set those boundaries and literally take those moments, whether it was, I'm gonna get up 20 minutes today so I can have a moment before anyone is asking me any questions, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
set these boundaries with my children, or sometimes it meant I'm gonna pump some milk
Yeah.
because I don't want to nurse her. Someone else needs to
Yeah.
give her a bottle so that I can
Yeah.
physically have a moment and breathe. I'll pump the milk later, but I don't want anybody touching right now. So
Yeah.
it really helped me stay in check. She would ask me questions, kind of give me little homework just to navigate those things and take a breath, because it's so easy to not take that time. It's so
Yeah.
easy to like put those things on the back burner. And I'm not
Hmm.
where I heard this, but it was saying a lot of times we put our kids wants before our needs. Any good mom is going to give their child what their needs, but we're submitting to wants and we haven't submitted our basic needs. We're playing or we're doing extra things and we haven't showered, we haven't brushed our teeth, we haven't took a bath, and we're doing the extra things, and our kids are fine. They can wait 20 minutes. They're not
Yeah.
starving. They know how to get snacks. So I had to really say, is this a need that I'm fulfilling, or is this a want or a desire or something extra?
That's so neat that you said that because I've not heard that before, but that is so much of what we do as parents. A lot of it is that we're meeting their wants and not their needs. And another thing that I heard you say was that your therapist help you to say, teach your children how to treat you and in turn how to treat themselves. And how their expectation of another woman, especially for your two sons, when they come in contact and find their partners in life, whomever it may be, that they don't expect of their partners to bear the brunt of everything else, that the strength that they see within their partner isn't cocooned in bearing it all. You know, strength, we've misconstrued it for different reasons. We can talk about history, all that stuff with the Black woman, but we align it with being bearing it all to the point where we don't see ourselves. And I'm so happy that you're able to say in the minute that, listen, I've done this before, and it's good, and it's also good because you had a different world to a vantage point because you're like, I've had children before, it wasn't like this. This is odd. And then to be able to have the knowledge to call someone. So I'm going to say this to you before you even reached out to your therapist. How was what bug had laid that in your head to say, hey, if I'm ever in this way, I can call out to a therapist? Because some people don't know, like, who laid that there for you?
I think I took the classes with Kiana.
Yeah,
You always hear the talk about the signs, but it's different when you're feeling them. It's
yeah,
like, what part of this is like normal postpartum things? What part of this is like the baby blues? How much
yeah,
kind of crying is normal and things?
yeah,
And I just felt sad, like,
yeah,
and I felt like I just felt like I was drowning. Like I couldn't like come up for air really.
yeah,
And it was like, if this was a friend, I would be like, girl, go talk to somebody. But I'm trying to like manage these things because I feel like I'm supposed to. And I feel
hmm,
like almost my daughter was the strength. Of course, I love my sons, but I'm like,
yeah,
what kind of woman do I want to raise? What kind
yeah,
of daughter do I want? Obviously, she doesn't really know now, but when she
yeah,
grows up, what kind of behaviors do I want her to pass on? Do I want her to get this whole I gotta be strong thing, whatever it is that means? And sometimes strength is calling on somebody else to help you.
yeah,
Like looks different ways. So
yeah.
I knew the signs. It kind of was just like it took me a little time just to
Yeah,
like
but you had that information prenatally,
prenatally
prenatally.
to
So
know the signs.
yeah. So you took a birth prep class, and in that she kind of laid out, and part of it was actually maternal mental health.
Yeah.
That is really like pivotal to have a class that actually talk about those things and having that information there to say, this is what baby blues look like, and this is what it doesn't look like. And if you ever feel this way, go ahead and call. So, big shout outs to that. It's
Yes.
help. I'm a huge fan. Like, you know me, you know I'm a huge fan of prenatal education. I'm a fan of education while you're in the crux of it. I'm a fan of therapy because a therapist has helped me so many times in my life. And you know, I'm no stranger. I'm very honest about my postpartum journeys and so forth. So I do think I do know that the conversation we're having right now is so important. I hope that someone who's listening right now who's saying, um, I'm about to have this baby, and right now I know that I've struggled prenatally with some anxiety. I know that in my past I've had some depression, or I'm fine now. But what would you tell them to like say, hey, you're here, you're thinking you're struggling or maybe struggling, or you're like, I don't, I think I'll be fine. What would you share?
It can't hurt. I've never known anybody to go for a checkup and it hurt it. If you went to the doctor and you thought something was wrong and there's nothing's wrong, they'll tell you nothing is wrong and you go about your business. So, I mean, it really can't hurt. And
Yeah.
even if you don't feel like the PPD or the anxiety in motherhood,
Mhm.
you need somebody to talk to, period. So it really can't hurt. And
Yeah.
taking care of your kids means taking care of yourself, because things can escalate, and if
Mhm.
you have to be checked in somewhere because you didn't do the thing. So I had to think about those things. What happens if
Mhm.
I spiral, and now who's gonna take care of my child?
Yeah.
What's gonna happen if my husband got to take all this time off from work because I'm now I gotta go somewhere or check in?
Yeah.
Nothing is wrong with that if you need to, but because
Yeah.
I'm not, I know better. I have the
Mhm.
education. I've had a child. I have had children. I know this doesn't feel normal. Like our
Yeah.
intuition, trust myself, this doesn't feel normal.
Yeah.
This has
Yeah.
lasted a few weeks and it's not shifting. I still feel this way. And I think too, like in this pandemic, post recession, whatever, being a Black woman is traumatic.
It is very.
Like, this is trauma that we kind of gotta get off of us. So call
Mhm.
somebody. It would be, I would even recommend finding somebody before, having somebody on
Um,
hand, looking if you want a Black woman, if you want this type of person, finding a person so you can have the information, because it's a little time consuming trying to like find a therapist in the midst
yeah.
of nursing and changing diapers or whatever. So I would
Mhm.
just have that person on hand in advance. If you need them, great. If you never need them, you'll just have it and you can pass it on to somebody else. So I
Yeah.
definitely recommend it.
That's amazing. That's good. So this is it. Thank you so much for this conversation. I appreciate your honesty. I appreciate you letting us know how to handle ourselves, how to reach for help. And that while you decided that breastfeeding was going to be a part of your journey, these are the things that happen to impact it. But at the end of it, I love that you said, I asked you what breastfeeding was and what motherhood was. And all of it was still beautiful. All of it is worthy. All of it is eye-opening. All of it is still strength for you. So not because you're going through rough patches in life doesn't mean that the beauty of the decisions that you make aren't still there. So that's what my takeaway is. It's just like you have these amazing things to say about motherhood and breastfeeding, but you're so honest about what doesn't look pretty. And we need to have these honest conversations so we're not in the corner thinking that I'm alone.
Because it's stages. Think about getting your
Yeah,
hair done, right? When you take your
yeah,
braids out,
yeah,
it's not cute. When you're
yeah.
sitting under the dryer, it's not cute. But in order
Mm,
for you to get to the other side of that, you have
mm,
to go through the not so cute stages, the
mm,
bantu knots, or the little twist we put in our hair before we put a
mm,
bonnet on. It'll be
mm,
cute when I pick it out, but it's not
mm.
cute when I'm in here looking like silly. It's not cute then. So you, you got to go through those hard processes, but it still all turns out beautiful.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I love that analogy. And with that, I'm going to leave and I'm just going to thank you so much for sharing with me. I would love to have some deeper conversation with you. So I may call on you again.
Okay. Thank
So, but
you.
thank you. Thank you guys for this. I so appreciate you spending this time with us and have a great night.
You too.